Hello, this is a video about the Bardarbunga caldera, or actually the whole area. We're going to look at the entire region which was included or affected by the 2014-15 events of the eruption. Now I have actually modified the scales, horizontal and the vertical, to actually be kind of realistic, so the depth is at least 95% accurate and up to scale actually with the dimensions of the caldera in the area itself. So the first thing we're going to look at are going to be earthquakes prior to the eruption, which means we're going to look at earthquakes since 2004 and until I think the beginning of August 2014, so before the main swarm began. Now these are earthquakes of magnitude 0.5 and above, so I have excluded very weak ones. The depth of this area goes down to 30 kilometers. What is obvious right away is the very high activity under the main caldera. Actually on the north side you see a huge amount of very deep earthquakes here, which was basically magma intrusions. It's very interesting. You see the area of earthquakes here, which is actually under the Christopher volcano. You can also see right here there's a spike pointing towards the Bardarbunga caldera. So see here. So there probably was, an opening there, or at least it happened later, where the magma moved. That later period. Also see deep quakes on the Christopher area, and you see here earthquakes on the Kverkfjall. Also some deep ones. So it is an active volcano, an active system. And of course here some Hungarian area volcanoes and earthquakes. This is interesting in itself. And the very interesting thing we've actually seen is this. This is a vertical stack of earthquakes going from the surface down to a nice depth. Now this is prior to the 2014 eruption. And what is interesting is that we have earthquakes now recently appearing in the same area, the deep intrusion we have seen as deep earthquakes in this exact area. I'm going to add the newer earthquakes later. Let's see, if we look from the west, a very obvious stacking of earthquakes very deep down on the Bardarbunga prior to the eruption. You can see how seismically active this whole area was. Now I'm going to shut off these earthquakes. I'm going to turn on the 2014 eruption period earthquakes, so since August 2014 until the end of the eruption in February 2015. So let's see how that looks like. Okay, so the first thing we see right away is the lack of the very deep earthquakes. But we do know there was magma movement in the system, so the accumulations were from before. So yeah, very nicely seen is this wall of earthquakes, the dike in which magma moved outside of the glacier where it erupted as lava. You can see the ring of earthquakes around the main caldera. Now this is a view from the west. Here we have the caldera and of course the wall of earthquakes, the dike. You can see very nicely how the shape of earthquakes on the caldera is, looks like a feet, like a shoe actually, a foot. So we have a nice vertical stack on the southern rim, but the north one is actually moved outward a bit, which is consistent with the shape of the caldera, or the plug actually, which was dropping at that time. See this batch of caldera quakes, and if we look further into the wall, you can see it very nicely. The dike. So we're actually looking into the wall of earthquakes, into the actual dike. Now we do see it shifted, the direction on a few occasions. First, when it came out of the caldera, it made a gradual turn. We're going to get to that point later. And then later it shifted again here, it moved out of the glacier. It did stop. If you look from the side, here we have Askja, and we do see it stopped, almost, it's like a dead end, exactly like it would hit a wall. So it had basically no chance of getting up to Askja. Now I'm going to shut off these earthquakes, the eruption period, and we are going to look at all the earthquakes since March 2015 till the present time, so the post-eruption earthquakes. Now the obvious thing, we see some deeper earthquakes here under the, how is it called? I think it's Bardarbunga volcano. It's actually a shield volcano. Actually very deep earthquakes emerging there. Perhaps a sign of some activity in the far future. We also see earthquakes in the dike, which could be due to the cooling magma or some tectonic movements there, or it could be both. Now if you look into the caldera area, you do see that the stack of earthquakes doesn't have that, that foot shape it had before. It's much more vertical. You see some deeper quakes emerging again under the caldera. It actually looks like the pattern of earthquakes goes in depth towards northwest, so around 10 to 15 kilometer depth we have this area, this spike of earthquakes going towards northwest, which might be leaking actually from the bottom chamber or the middle chamber. Who knows? Now this area is very interesting. We see that this was active deeper quakes back before the eruption, but there had been no earthquakes during the eruption period. Now these are very deep quakes. You see again this vertical stack here, which was obvious before the eruption, so there has to be some volcanic feature or subglacial volcano perhaps there, which is unknown. Now here we have all volcanoes since 2004 till the present time with the eruption earthquakes, and we see this dike here, which is actually very active and has a nice vertical stacking of earthquakes. And we see this area is exactly where the dike started shifting direction, and we see the slack of earthquakes in this region, which is around 5 till now around 12-13 kilometers. And the dike intrusion kinda looks like to be going slightly south, and we have this void, and earthquakes shift towards north again. So there actually could be a magma body in this region between 5 and 13 kilometer depth, which is open for speculation actually. We have to monitor this region to see for any further deep activity and how it will progress with time. So here's again a look at the entire region of earthquakes. Thank you for watching.